She said she's magical, mystical, a powerful wonder girl.
Joining us now is Lydia Cecilia, a two-time cancer survivor who wants other women facing illness, disease, low self-worth, insecurities, doubt and fear to see and feel that it is possible to overcome, to thrive, and to surpass a negative diagnosis and life's curveballs. You have some secret, Lydia.
I sure do.
that nobody else does. So tell us where this came from.
I would say I learned that I had this in me when I was first diagnosed with cancer in 2001. Being diagnosed was something that was a relief for me. I had been looking for about 3 years for diagnosis from a doctor because I didn't feel like something was right. I was losing weight. I was feeling cold and tired all the time. And so I knew something wasn't right inside me. So I started to get proactive and I wasn't being heard anymore by my family doctor. So I decided to switch, which led to being tested and being heard.
Well, let's go back to the beginning a bit because it was November is coming up is a big month for you.
Yes,
a
it
big
is.
anniversary. That would be 15 years in remission from leukemia and 16 years in remission for Hodgkin's lymphoma. So the Hodgkin's lymphoma, this was the first diagnosis.
This was the first diagnosis.
And you said you wanted to change because you weren't getting what you needed from your doctor at the time.
Absolutely. Yes. So I felt like at the time I wasn't being heard and I felt like I needed to do something different so that what I was articulating was being received. The reason my family doctor at the time didn't really follow through with more testing was I had my dad that passed away a few years before my diagnosis. So he felt that a lot of that was due to grief. And then he thought that maybe I was looking for attention and that I was starting to sound like a bit of a hypochondriac. But I mean, it was very visible and obvious that I wasn't well, like I was losing weight and I wasn't even trying. And so I didn't really get much sympathy from my sisters and...
yeah, you wouldn't get a whole lot of sympathy from me either.
No, I understand. But I was frustrated because I did not feel well and settled inside myself. So I knew that there was something going on. And I just needed someone to help me find out what it was.
So how did you bypass all these doubting physicians and get yourself a diagnosis?
I switched family doctors and I, as politely as I could, commanded and demanded that he start to do some x-rays. I, at the time, was feeling like I had, like my lungs were rubbing or like a broken bird, like I was always, caving in the thoracic area and again, just tired and cold, really subtle symptoms, nothing that was, odd other than it was consistent. So with me persisting, we started with blood work. It showed that my iron levels were low. I started with iron injections because he didn't feel that the pills would absorb quick enough. We did some chest x-rays, which was pretty interesting because this had never happened to me before, where the radiologist physically walked me out of his office to my doctor's office because he had seen clusters in the lungs, in the bronchioles. So they didn't know. I mean, with x-ray, it's really hard to determine. They could just see the cloudiness and cluster. Mm-hmm. So he interrupted him with a patient to say, whatever they had to say in their lingo. And then that's really where the ball started at that point.
But then, to add insult to injury, if you will, you developed the leukemia as a result of the treatments you received for Hodgkin's lymphoma?
Yes.
I didn't know that could happen.
No.
Wow. Okay, so it happens in many cancer treatments. So 1 in every 10,000 patients for Hodgkin's lymphoma that receives the chemotherapy cocktail of ABVD, and I don't remember what all of the letters stand for, and the combination of radiation, which I did receive after my 6 months of treatment for Hodgkin's lymphoma of chemotherapy. I had to do the 30 days of radiation. So that combination, 1 in 10,000 patients develops leukemia as a secondary cancer.
I've never heard that, and that's alarming.
Mm-hmm. It's
were you warned of that risk?
I don't remember being warned, but I was, because I had other people come with me when we went for the first original appointment with my oncologist at Princess Margaret. So these were statistics that were given to us. But all I kept in my mind was Hodgkin's is 85% curable. That 1 in 10,000, I was thinking that's like the lottery. Who's ever going to win that?
You advocate for both physical and emotional well-being.
Yes,
what
I do.
message do you want women listening and watching to know?
I would say that my greatest lesson, and I believe would be useful for other, not just women, but everyone in general, is to recognize that some of the emotional hurts that we carry, bury, or suppress for years and decades, eventually these emotional hurts, they affect our physical well-being. And so there's a lot of focus, I find, in the mental and physical health, and we don't often give any sort of attention or even studies, I think, to the emotional well-being other than from a psychological perspective. I'm speaking more from, I would say, a deeper spiritual level where things affect you at the core. And again, you don't even know they're affecting you until maybe you have some sort of an awakening and you realize perhaps what things meant before you really learned what they meant.
So what are the hurts that you are referring to in your particular case? And what effect did they have on you physically?
To speak directly to the cancer at the time of my diagnosis, my thought process was that the reason it happened for me and not to me was there was a bit of discord within my family after my dad passed away, with siblings and my mom. So my mom, myself, and one of my siblings were not speaking to another one. And
Families, who needs them?
so, I felt like the diagnosis brought us together. And so I was so happy. And again, I had that 85% statistic in my mind. So I was like, bring it on. If this means that my brother's family comes back into our lives, then so be it. Like, if this is what my dad is conspiring with the universe to bring to me, then bring it, because obviously I can handle it.
So you've dealt with a lot, but now you're a mom and a wife. So was that the silver lining, bringing in it for you?
I believe the silver lining for me, in terms of, again, when I look at it from that perspective at that time, yes, absolutely, the silver lining was to bring the family back together. When I look back at it in hindsight, because throughout the years and along my journey of recovery and healing, I've learned and opened up my mind and heart to so many things I wasn't even aware of before. So when I look at what the silver lining is today, I really believe it's making that connection for me between the emotional and physical well-being.
Well, you reference things like low self-worth, insecurities, doubt, and fear. You're not suggesting that people need to get really sick to deal with those things.
Absolutely not. I suggest that there is a way to be proactive and a way to keep a strong, positive well-being and mindset throughout your life that could perhaps help you not develop some of these illnesses and diseases.
And you are offering health and wellness services that speak to that.
Yes, I am. I'm a Reiki practitioner. I am a yoga instructor, a foot reflexologist, a certified coach. And again, I believe that what I've been through in my life and health experience can empower others to see that you can make it through something that is perceived as negative, because usually it's in those moments of adversity that we have the most opportunity to grow.
But I think you're also suggesting that people don't face it, that they, for whatever reason, they bury it, they walk away from it, they figure it'll solve itself. And you're saying that's not the case. You need to deal with it.
I'm suggesting it's my belief and opinion that you ought to deal with it, because it does penetrate into different aspects of your being.
How can people get in touch with you if they want to come?
I have a brand new website that I just published and posted this Sunday. It's www.lydiacecilia.ca. I also am on LinkedIn and Instagram at Lydia Cecilia Wellness, and I could be reached by mobile at 416-931-9309.
Well, thank you very much for sharing your story with us. We're glad you're well, and we're glad you're helping other people get well.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure and honor, and absolutely, I feel I'm starstruck.
You need to get out more.
Well, she